Hey, munna Tshepo, munna. No, I don't take pleasure in such. Yeah, no, I don't. I didn't bring you up like that. Your mom will always be your mom. Remember, munna Tshepo, hore re o hodisitse monna. Even if mama gawa ka ba wrong hakakang, you mustn't blackmail your mom. And also, munna, you've got to choose words when you speak to your mom. Kgetha mantswe monna, ke o rutile hore o hlomphe mmao. This tone monna, nna monna wa tseba Tshepo monna. I'm not in favor of it. Ka o kopa hle monna, hlompha mmao, kgetha mantswe ha o bua le mme wa hao.
Third part of this particular discussion, I am sitting here across Simon Mokoena.
Yes, sir.
And there were certain other things that you wanted to kind of like clarify also.
Sure.
From the recording that we did previously, before we get on with the editing of the episodes and all that kind of stuff. And so, welcome for everybody that hasn't seen the other particular parts that we have done. As the Church Reality Check, welcome. We deal with subject matters of church and related to anything which is around the church and spirituality. That's our conversation right there. And so today, you'll remember that we made two parts previously in response to the interviews that were done by the ex-wife of Ntate Mokoena, Apostle Mokoena of Tirania's Apostolic Church. And so his son, Tshepo, said there were certain things that he was not happy with on the previous episode. You did mention when it came to subject matters of your state of unemployment and all those kind of things coming up. It was just not thinking credit to your dad concerning taking care of the kids and all that kind of stuff. So there were all these points that you wanted to highlight, and you highlighted those. And so today, where do we go? And you can greet the guys. And
yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ricky. Once again, thank you so much for having me on the platform. Awesome. You know, it's always a pleasure to be here. Yeah, Mr. Ricky, I think we've really touched on quite a lot.
Yeah.
Right. So we touched on, you know, the children. We've touched on, you know, my father's involvement. And we've also touched on, you know, some of the things within the family, the church, the history of the church. But obviously, you know, these things are not just as simple as that. It's not just as simple as, you know, there are many layers to these type of situations.
Right.
You know, so many different layers. So I think we've peeled off a few layers, but, you know, there's still a lot that I feel like, yes, some people might think, why are you getting involved, Tshepo? As a child, you know? And I guess it's a fair question to ask, you know? But also I think as someone who is at my age, who understands family values, someone who understands, I feel the ramifications of the podcast that came out, you know, from the other channel. Someone who understands those ramifications, it's only fair that as the eldest of the family, you know, they might say, people might think that, you know, house spokesperson, but I'm the eldest, you know, and I have to sort of come and try to rectify. Yeah.
Okay. How far apart are you from your sister?
How far apart? It's about 4 years.
Age? 4 years.
4 years, yes.
Okay. No.
It's about a 4-year gap.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that there's a lot we've peeled off from your perspective as a person who was living within that situation, and not just us commenting about it. And which areas did you feel that you maybe want to pay attention to more, or which areas did you want to directly?
One of the things that maybe we didn't touch on in the previous episodes is, for example, You know, there were many things that were said even about Inkabi.
Okay.
You know, that, you know, my father has hitmen.
Okay.
You know, and there were accusations about things that I think maybe I might have heard from my mother many years ago, but things that I didn't take seriously.
Okay.
Because where do you find Inkabi? And it's a very serious accusation.
Yeah.
Because those people kill people. That's what Inkabi does.
Yeah.
So to say that my dad, for example, has connections to murderers is a big accusation.
In the era of Mokwena's.
In the era of Mokwena's, do you see what's happening now?
Yeah.
So to say that my dad has affiliations with people who go around killing people for a living, it's huge. And it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed with where did you see those hitmen? Have you seen those hitmen?
How was it said in the episode? If there's any areas of clarity.
Let me try to quote it verbatim, right? It was just said that, you know, he's a very dangerous man and he can make you disappear. You understand? He can make you disappear. What do you mean he can make you disappear? Like if as soon as you mess with his image or mess with his brand, you disappear. That's a serious accusation.
Was there an example that was given, maybe, or?
I think there was an example that I even grew up hearing that, you know, apparently there were hitmen that were placed in a certain part in Kwakwa. There's, you know, when you're driving out of Kwakwa going to Bethlehem, there's a specific that everyone knows. There's a University of the Free State there called Uniqua. So when you're driving to Bethlehem, because at that time my parents were still living here in Bethlehem. So everyone that goes to Bethlehem drives past that university. So everyone that knows that area will tell you that university is on your way to Bethlehem or Harrismith. So apparently those people were put there to take my mom out.
Okay.
Right? And I don't know how that didn't happen because she's still alive. So we can't validate those claims. Right? But also, there was also a thing that was said that he loves his brand. He loves himself so much to a point where should you mess with him, his image, you know, you'll disappear verbatim. Yeah.
Okay, now that's
so verbatim is word for word. Like I'm quoting it quote for quote.
As it was said.
Said on the podcast. Yeah.
So was there any idea around the claim of the Inkabi that maybe the Inkabi maybe followed her, or they were just posted at a certain spot?
So yes, there was a thing that apparently.
The reason why I'm asking that question is this: is because if a person says I was followed by Inkabi, or I had Inkabis on me, so that they're either trailing you or you've seen them at different times or something like that. And so, was there any other event that validated that, okay, there's someone on my tail?
Yeah. So yes, there was an example that was made. It was regarding my sister, right? So at that time, I've always been that child that is not really involved or like very close. You know, I've always been like boarding school. After boarding school, I came back, you know, and then I started working, found my own place, got married, you know. So I was close to both parents, but I was also very isolated, you know, because, you know, but my sister was always, I guess, with my mother. So some of the conversations I was not part of.
Okay.
And this is not me wiping my hands clean, but I'm just speaking facts, right? Some of the conversations I was not part of. Some of the claims that were made, I don't know. I would hear it on the phone, but I didn't think that one day I would hear it on the podcast.
Okay.
You know, that, for example, there was a claim made in the podcast that my sister was being followed. You know, there's also something called paranoia.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Paranoia is a real thing. It's like you'll feel like you're being followed. Why follow you? To do what? Right? So when there's eventually a time when, I don't want to go too much into my sister's thing, but there was a time when she was let go from work. Kotiran. I don't know if it's before, but I think that's when these claims came about, because obviously it was a very difficult time for all of us, even for myself, and even in that letting go, I'll come back to this Inkabi thing. I just want to clarify this part quickly. One disease, and I'm speaking from experience, as a pastor's kids, and I'm speaking as a 35-year-old pastor's kid who's been all of that his whole life. We are very entitled.
Yeah.
There's a level of entitlement that needs to be addressed with us. Sometimes they can say, like sometimes all the claims or you know those claims?
Yeah.
You know that, usually a pastor can come up, but then the kids become wayward, right? There's a certain spirit of entitlement that I think I can speak to all pastors' kids, especially with someone who's been exposed to that level of a church that was so big and still is massive, right? I'm the right person to talk. That we are entitled. We think that our fathers owe us.
Yeah.
And they don't. So I think, so let me just come back to, I just needed to touch on that.
So you're saying that based off of the letting go part?
Of the letting go part, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I'm saying it from the letting go part. He was like, okay, guys, both of you, go. Do your own thing, find yourselves. Because maybe there was a certain thing that we were doing that he didn't like. For example, like I'm saying, sometimes to say to him, like, when we are talking and we're having differences, to say, even mom said this. He's like, then go to your mother.
Yeah.
This is not your mother's church. This is my church. Pella, these people have been separated for 24 years. So you're still coming and telling me about your mom, where I'm trying to build my own thing. And there's a certain type of behavior that I want you to portray when you come to the church. There's a standard that I want you to keep. There's a behavior that I want you to have. There's a way of treating people, a way of talking to people. You understand? So to come and say, so those things would irritate him until he's like, you know what? If you feel that, your mom is correct, go there. And I think which is a fair thing, right? So there were conversations that were had, a lot of conversations that were had, but then that's when I think he then decided, look, go.
Okay, so he had this area of having to deal with comments that might be from a conversation maybe your mom.
Yes.
And how maybe she perceived maybe the doctrine of the church or whatever it was, without getting into that. But then it felt as though it was now leading to how you guys should interpret your relationship with your dad. So, which is why you are saying that.
You could have not, I think the way you just put it is spot on.
Yeah.
You understand? Because, in our heads, these are both our parents. We are not taking sides.
You're trying to juggle.
We're trying to juggle
which
both.
One works and
which one works and which one doesn't. So now sometimes when our father comes to us and says, I'm not happy with your behavior, Tsepo, 1, 2, 3, or Lebu, I'm not happy with your behavior. And we say, no, but even mom, but like your mom and I are not together.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a say here. It's been 24 years. There's a certain way. So to bring your mom's philosophies in my house,
it's not going to work.
It's not going to work. And I don't think Lenash was doing it from a negative place. But Lorna, sometimes we then just quote, trying to prove a point, and then
I have valid reason. I have a quote.
Exactly.
That I can
use.
They call it a quote of authority, basically.
Exactly. But now, unfortunately, saying that it's his house, the separation has been 24 years.
Okay.
So the question is, as someone who's been married before, someone who also has an ex-wife. Can I become successful and then one day my ex-wife, who left me, by the way, now has a say in how I run my businesses? You're not there when I ran my businesses. You left.
Okay.
When I was going,
she left, you mean particularly her
my
marriage
ex-wife, but even my mom.
Okay.
She divorced. She's the one who divorced. I was there in the court cases. You know, I was young, but I remember watching my father standing in the dock with my mother divorcing. You understand? Can she now have a say? You know? So now, if now my parents, if now my sister and my mom are having conversations about Inkabi and standing on a platform like YouTube, which is an international platform, to say that this man is capable of killing someone. People have died, guys. We know we've got AKA, we've got DJ Somebody. These are serious accusations. People right now might be facing life sentences.
Because of that.
Because of that. You can't. It's not fair. I'm not reprimanding my mother, but I'm just talking from a logical place. And call me the spokesperson of the family, so be it. But it's only fair. And I appreciate where my mother was coming from, trying to help. But you cannot make such accusations.
Okay. So, you mentioned that there might have been certain things that you heard. Is there anything directly, or we should just
Things
skip
that I've
over?
heard in what sense?
You mentioned that during the time when you were away in boarding school and so forth, there might have been certain things that were said maybe on the phone that might come into affecting how your view pertaining their marriage.
Yeah, I think I was very close to both.
Okay.
You know, obviously when the divorce happened, I was closer to my dad, you know. But there was a lot, things that I've heard from both sides, you know, knowing that, okay, this is how my mom feels, this is how my father feels.
Okay.
Right. But I think in all of that, I must say I'm speaking from a person of experience now with a relationship of many years with my father. Obviously, you know, my foundational years, I was with my dad. And, you know, I'll even play you a clip of a recent clip. Where,
how far old?
How far old? 2 months. 2 months old.
Okay.
Where my dad was reprimanding me that regardless of how I feel about certain things that have happened, and which has always been his narrative even since I was a kid, that, you know, regardless of what's going on, you have to respect your mother. You have to honor her because she gave you life. So
he didn't completely just agree with you because they are separate. When he felt like, hey, I expect you to still hold a high hand.
Yes.
Over
yes.
how your relationship interprets between you and your mother. So he was calling you out.
Yes.
Over your views.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. My views, and I'm talking 2 months ago, even after the podcast, even after the things that were said about him.
Okay.
He still said, no, that's not how you talk to your mother. That's not how you behave. That's not, you know. So, yes, a lot of things were said. Yeah, back to that. A lot of things were said.
Can you play it?
Sure.
And so, for me, I think I'll hear it here, but then what we'll do is, in the edit, I'll allow the audio to play out.
Yeah.
And so, do you have it?
Hey, Tshepo Munna. I noted your messages, your communique with your mom. Hey, Munna, Tshepo Munna. No, I don't take pleasure in such. Yeah, no, I don't. I didn't bring you up like that. Your mom will always be your mom. Remember monna tshepo hore re o hodisitse monna. Even if mama gawa ka ba wrong hakakang, you mustn't blackmail your mom. And also monna, you've got to choose words when you speak to your mom. Kgetha mantswe monna, ke o rutile hore o hlomphe mmao. And to ska lebala monna, don't forget tshepo monna hore you're a man yourself. You have kids. Your mom doesn't owe you anything. It doesn't matter who default deal, who the promises to high. She will always be your mom. Go rutile hore hlomphe mmao ntse hopola dilemo tsele tsa ho feta. Ke na le lona Bloemfontein mane mma lona kopa tshwarelo. Ke re ho lona, even if mme wa lona entse phoso, le mo hlomphe ke mme wa lona. Le ske la mo balla dibe tsa hae, mefokolo ya hae. This tone monna, nna monna wa tseba tshepo monna, I'm not in favor of it. Ka o kopa hle monna, hlompha mmao, kgetha mantswe ha o bua le mme wa hao. Don't blackmail your mother. She doesn't owe you anything. O hodisitse monna tshepo, o hodisitse. Yes, o entse diphoso. Yes, nna le wena re ile ra qabana ka baka la hobane mme wa hao wa buile dintho tse wa di buang. Ke sa lakatse hore ke be implicated. Mara ke a o kopa hle monna. Please monna, I don't take pleasure in this type of language, you know, towards your mother. Anyway, re tla bua, I'm still in Lesotho, ke tla bua ke khutla.
So, so your dad at this point had gotten wind of, you know, because now there was this commotion. Where this voice note rebuking you from your dad, it comes from a point when you were trying to still juggle relationship between mom and dad,
Yes.
but also wanting her to understand why you valued or why you wanted to go back to what your dad had kept with your kids and establish them, making sure that they don't go without food and whatnot, shelter, all that kind of stuff. And so you were trying to start you were starting a conversation between you and your mom, which led into a very uncomfortable conversation. And so when he got wind of that conversation, that's where he's calling you out.
That's when he sent me this voice note. Because, you know, I mean, there was obviously, it's been a very difficult time since the podcast came out. Very difficult time. And as much as I was angry at my dad at the time, you know, but also when the anger subsides, you're like, but that's my father. This is our family. What are we doing to our family? So now I'm trying to say, Ma, let's talk. The thing is, before even coming here, there's times when I really tried to speak to her.
Yeah.
Many times when I would try to sit her down and say, Ma, I just spoke to dad, and here, how can we find, let's talk. There's many times.
Okay.
And every single time, I was met with painful words. It didn't have to get here. It didn't have to get here. But if I have to fix my relationship with my father, and some people may think I'm doing it for wealth, I'm doing it to secure myself, that's also fine. I think everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But for me, it's about, honestly, it's still about my children. It's about our blood. It's about our family. So I didn't want to have to go there behind her back to speak to him and say, Dad, can I meet up with you?
Yeah.
Can we have lunch?
Yeah.
I didn't want to go behind her back. So I played open cards.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there and try and
Yes.
do this. So you came to her with that, and it wasn't well received. But even how you responded, he's
Yes.
like, no.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
You don't do that.
No matter how she responded to you,
yes.
no matter how you want to address, don't go there.
Don't go there. Be better. And that's when I even sent him a message, because I feel like that's a very selfless thing to do. Pella, he's the same person who was cussed, told that he's a witch on the internet. But then he can still come back and say, as much as this has happened, he was selfless and said, you don't speak to your mother like that. There's times when I've also been angry at my dad and I've said things. You understand? So as we grow up as children, I respect the selflessness from my dad to say, as much as your mom has hurt me, she said some things about me, you don't get to speak to her like that.
Right. Yeah. So that being said, the whole, like how the conversation was when you were still there, which might have maybe which might also contribute to the rot between the relationship, and because now you guys are there and you're having comments and your dad is like, okay, no. I think you wanna do that, go over there and stay with your mom. You mentioned something a little bit earlier on that she's the one that left.
Yeah. She did. She did divorce. I was there. I was there in court when the judgment happened.
Okay.
I was there. My sister was not even there. She was still very young.
Yeah.
But I was there with all of my uncles. From my mom's side, my grandfathers, let me say, because, she comes from the Bengo family, so there was a lot of sons from Oba Bengo. Not Nicholas, there's the other one. Zephaniah. All right. So there were a lot of sons. And they were all there. To a point where there was even a time when it looked like I was choosing my dad's side. I will never forget this. It was actually a very painful thing. Where they came to the family home, the matrimonial home in Bethlehem, where I stayed last year. After she had left. So I was staying there with my dad. And my grandfathers, from my dad's side, Datamhulu Orel, God rest his soul, he said, literally, how? Makoti, how should me someone now?
Yes, sir.
She looked at me like she doesn't know me.
When she arrived.
You see, and these are the things I don't want to talk about. But I'm just trying to prove that how aware and how much I felt it growing up.
But we didn't have to get here.
It didn't have to get here.
We didn't have to address all these things.
Exactly.
Could have just stayed there, but now...
Exactly. Unfortunately, So I bought how? She just looked at me. And that time I'm like 9 years old. How said me, sir? Now. That time I haven't seen her in months. Why don't you just say hi? Just give your child a hug. Imagine hearing that and I'm just a child. I'm looking at her and she just looks at me like...
Yeah. That's...
When already it means... If that happened at 9, imagine what's happening now. If that happened to me at 9, so imagine now any communication I have with my dad, even at that time when I was 9 years old, when I still needed to be taught how to shave. If that happened then, as if I had control, imagine how she feels about me now for doing this, which is okay.
Yeah. It must be...
They came to the family home. We went to court. She came with her family and there was a divorce. It happened like that. And she's the one who divorced. There's papers, the remuneration, like the giving back, to say, there's court papers. I don't know the terms, but there's court papers where
what are the agreements between
the agreements between them, the payments that happened. It's all there. There's also a claim that, for example, that was said was that my sister was being followed. I mean, I think if there's anyone who was supposed to have been followed, it's me. Because I was the first to leave. If there's anyone who was supposed to have been a target
before your sister.
If there's anyone who was supposed to have been followed, it's me. And after I left, I went, the thing is, it's almost like people think that we've had it easy. After we left home, it was difficult. When I got my job out of my father's church, my first job, I was staying in Terfontein.
I'm from there, so I know that area.
You understand that area, my brother. Living in a back room.
Yeah, no.
And this time you have your family, your wife. I could have been assassinated there. Don't you think?
Yeah, no, it's a very rough place.
It's rough.
It's rough.
It's not a joke to stay in Tarfontein.
This child came from there.
You understand?
Yeah.
And that time, you come from living in Sandton to Tarfontein, trying Ozama Bophelo. So I think if there's anyone who could have been assassinated first, was me, because our cars had trackers, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you could have found someone there and made it look, and it would have been an easy way to cover it up.
Robbery gone wrong.
Robbery gone wrong. Could have been easy there, especially in that area, because there you know how.
That's where Lucky Dube went.
You understand?
Yeah, it's a crazy area.
That's where who went?
Lucky Dube.
Yeah, that's where you got shot.
Yeah.
Imagine. That's why I stayed with my wife and my child. I think if my father was capable of being an assassin, I would have been the first one.
Yes, sir. So, apart from the Inkabi claim, because it went to how is it said why they were there, or why did they stop?
I need you to repeat your question, please.
Is it made clear in the interviews?
Yes.
Why did they stop? Because
Why did they stop what?
The Inkabis are not going to stop until they've done the job.
Of course. They
don't get paid. They're not getting paid to
just
track
to follow you. They're getting paid to finish you off.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's not mentioned or they stopped because they got exposed.
Exactly. What stopped them? It's and those things, unfortunately, you know, when they're not substantiated, they damage your psyche as a child. Just like with me, when I was told by that prophet that I'm going to die, I met that prophet through my mom.
Oh, okay.
Imagine.
It was her church or that she went to?
I think she went to a conference and someone prophesied. I met him through my mom. So you can imagine, as a child at that age, not a child even, I'm a grown-up, but you don't see a reason for your mom to be malicious, right? So you believe it. That there's no ways my mom would mislead me. So having that type of, imagine living your life thinking that your father is capable of killing you. That hurts, my brother. There's no ways you can be normal in your relationships, in anything, in the way you perceive people. Because you are thinking, my dad wants to kill me.
And so the prophet said, okay, you didn't mention that part on the first one.
Because I didn't want to mention it.
Didn't want to mention it, yeah.
I think there are reasons why now I feel the need to. I didn't want to mention those things because this whole thing was not supposed to make anyone look bad.
Should have been. Yeah, in the first one you mentioned that you got a prophecy, and so for those people that might have not heard the first, I think you mentioned it on the first one. Your reason for leaving, and so yeah, that's new information to say that it was actually a conference that she went to that this supposed prophet came in.
How do you live your life every day? Imagine in the back of your mind, knowing no matter how bad your father is, but the worst thing your father could do is want to kill you. And this is how you live your life every single day. You're like, Dad. The pain every day, waking up, knowing, looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I can't believe my father wanted to kill me. And you live with that in the back of your head every single day. Does that not cause serious psychological damage? Now, and now again, 2 years later, my father has Inkabi. This is all just destroying.
So it goes from they were trailing her, they trailing your sister now.
Me, I'm dying. Guys, this is all damaging. Because that information stays in the back of your head. Even when you're trying to make peace.
You have it. Maybe I'm exposing myself.
Yeah, maybe I must be careful. I must always tiptoe around my dad. It's not fair to make such. This is destroying families.
These claims, they're said, nothing to back them, but they seem to be trailing for everyone. Sister, for your mom,
for me,
for you, and whatnot. Well, for you, was it Inkabis or was it?
You know, my brother, if I was to tell you the truth, like, there's so many things I don't want to say.
Okay.
There's so much I don't want to say. But I look back now, I'm like, what a waste of life. What a waste of life. I'm at 35, I'm like, I spent so many years living in fear with something that's not substantiated. And once, like even like nothing good that my father does, we would appreciate. Because even if he comes in with good intentions and calls you, you're really suspicious. What does he want? Let's meet up somewhere. Hey guys, here's my GPS location in case something happens to me.
Ivan, go ahead now.
Imagine living that type of life. For what? For something that's not substantiated, for something that doesn't have proof. And I feel like it could have been something that was kept in the family. But once it went on the internet, there's when I'm like, no.
It's food for the vultures.
Yeah. There's no ways I'm allowing my dad to be accused of such things. Especially
having you lived it.
Having me lived it.
And then now it's an accusation for social media.
Yeah. Having lived it, I'm like, I'm vom. Just like even with her. No one, my father knows very well. Everyone in the family knows. You don't touch my mom. She knows. And if she wants to be honest, she will tell you the truth that when it's time to fight for me, Tsepo will fight for me. But just because I'm not agreeing with this one doesn't mean I hate her.
Yeah.
I'm just not agreeing. Because this is our family. This is Mokoena. Right? You might be Sibongile Mokoena, Sibongile Mokoena, but at the end of the day, this is what we have. This is our DNA. This is us. Yeah.
And so someone will say, you mentioned this in passing. I'm only referencing to the comments that were made.
Sure.
You mentioned that someone will say maybe you want your dad's inheritance or you want to be on the good side for inheritance and stuff like that. Maybe you're doing this for that.
Do you know what? One thing I can say about that is actually, I feel like already people think that. When that podcast came out, if you read the comment section, I wish Tsepo and Lepu could just leave their father and focus on God. God will provide for them. Even before I did this, people already questioning my mother's motives. If people were to be honest.
They were saying there's something else.
Yeah. Why is she coming out? So meaning kochong ba discusses obanaba babatla inheritance yan tatabon. And it's something, it looks like it. People's perception is their truth.
How they see life.
How they see it.
That's it.
That's their truth. Not knowing what the actual truth is, but the way they see it is their truth.
They've finished you. They've dissected you.
They've dissected you, whatever. And you can't go around trying to prove everyone. But already, even before I decided to come here, people already think that about us. Just because of
whether
the podcast.
you do it or you don't.
Just whether we do it or not, they're already thinking
you want inheritance.
Right? And obviously, they're going to now come, because I'm now standing here, so-called defending my father. I'm not defending anyone here. I'm setting the record straight. And I'm falsifying all the claims that are not correct. If I'm supposed to be dead, I would have been dead. If my mother was supposed to be dead, she would have been dead. The fact that we're all still alive. The only person we've ever lost in this family is my grandmother from natural causes, age.
Yeah.
Right? No one has died mysteriously. You understand? So coming back to this inheritance thing, people already think that about us.
Yes, sir.
Whether or not I'm here, now they're going to make it seem like Tsepo is the one, because he's here defending or talking about his father. It looks like I'm doing it for the bag. No. The people who are Facebook warriors sitting and commenting already think it.
It's a reminder to the second person to say, hey, people already think that.
Of course. So I can't falsify people's claims. I can't tell them what to think about me. Can think whatever they want to think. But even if Rebatla Mafa, to be honest, I'm going to say something very controversial. Isn't that Bosho the person to go to?
Yes, sir.
Even if, how are you going to influence someone to put me on his will? My father he's a man, a grandfather for that matter. In fact, he could have had, I'm sure, it's just that I'm sure by now you'd have had many grandkids. He only has 2, right? How do you convince a man that powerful to force him? That's why it's called a will. It's my will to put you on here. So to go to a platform and speak to Ndatama Bosho Bosho, how is that going to help?
It's not going to influence.
It's not going to influence him. In fact, it makes it worse. It's like actually, no.
So, yeah, now you're out.
Now you're out now.
We are laughing at people's lives, but
you know what I'm trying to say?
It's destructive.
Look, it's all good and well, my brother. I understand the motive. I understand the motive behind everything. The motives are good.
How long has your mom's business been running? Because I know they mentioned that part. I did watch an episode where they mentioned
it. I know it's been running for some years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been running for some years.
So people shouldn't think that somehow she was promoting it because thinking she had the business running.
I don't know what her motive.
Yeah,
the motive. I don't know if that was motive, but either way, it's a good product.
Yeah.
You know, so let's not take that away from.
Yeah, for her to have had it, just in case we're saying that.
Yeah.
Just in case someone looks back and says, so since you can't twist Tata Mokwena's hand, was there something else that maybe? So just so that to put that in place there, to say, no, the business was established way before that and it had been doing well and so forth. It had already had customers for that. And so pertaining another area maybe that was probably mentioned in the thing that maybe we didn't get details on that you think you want to address.
No, I think I've touched on quite a few of those things, but I think the Inkabi claims, and I saw other podcasts that came after.
Okay.
After this bombshell was dropped.
Okay.
So it was a lot to take in. Sometimes, I know they say blood is thicker than water, and it's a fact. It's not nice to see my name being mentioned without my permission, for example, without, I don't want people to know my business, but now that it's out there, I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't want people to know that I'm unemployed or I'm struggling here and there. And if I was to talk about the actual reason why I can't even do something for myself now, you'd be shocked because it's all interlinked to this podcast. But no one wants to talk about that. Obviously, people in the comment sections will come and say, grow up, find yourself a job, what. But if I was to tell you, but the point of me being here is not to point out anyone's mistakes. But this thing has been a snowball effect.
It's affected more than what you see.
It's affected more than you see. And when I said it, that the person who's going to feel the burn for this podcast is me, because it's now jeopardized me, not only emotionally, but also financially. Financially, it's jeopardized me. So now I have to come back to Johannesburg, stop everything I'm doing, because I was already established in Bethlehem. Now I'm getting kicked out. Now I must establish Bethlehem like that. I grew up there, but I was always in boarding school. So now if I'm getting kicked out of the house because of this podcast, what do I say? How do I now maneuver myself in Bethlehem? So now I must leave and lose my business that I was doing, which was actually working. That's what people are missing. This thing has affected me substantially. So people will think, hey, grow up, find a job, what. Of course you're entitled to say all of that.
I had that before this. You had that before this.
I was fine.
And now this kicked.
Yeah, exactly.
All of that.
This thing destroyed. It's destroyed my livelihood. Literally. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, people can think that, I'm taking sides. But I am here to say we are family, and we're not gonna allow lies. Mom, as much as I love her, she did divorce the father. She did divorce my dad. She didn't have. Why after 24 years do you come and do this? Why after 24 years? Even though I was living in Bethlehem, even though my father was taking care of my kids, he was not feeding me. So how do you think I lived for 3 months without food? Obviously, I worked. I worked very hard. You understand? But being kicked out of Bethlehem means I lose accommodation. Bethlehem. Bethlehem. I've got a place, I've got a lease already in my name. I can't have another lease somewhere else. So this podcast has really done a lot of damage to our family.
And that's a lot to take in. But also, it also just kind of like sends a warning also for the others to also think about what kind of information do you put to the public or do you put before the public?
You see how dangerous it is?
Yeah.
You know, the internet has a footprint. You just feel to yourself, child, you don't do that. I mean, I've sent texts that were so wrong to my family members, fighting for my mom. Wrong texts. But I knew that I can never come. I could have, when I got kicked out last year, I could have went. I even took photos. I was frustrated because I'm like, what did I do? I took photos. Like, look what they're doing to me. I'm like, I'm going to report this. Magasigili won something is like, you don't do that.
You don't do that. I'm
the one who's been kicked out. I'm the one who's now homeless. For no reason.
Nobody saw those pictures. Nobody saw those videos.
Nobody saw this.
Come to it.
You come to senses and say, I did nothing to deserve this. But no matter what, I'm tempted to go to Ntatema Bosho Bosho and destroy my father even more and say, look, they're kicking me out. But then something in you says, no, you don't do that.
Go back, look at what's the cause. Where is it?
Exactly.
Can it be resolved? What not?
Exactly. Because now I could have burned that bridge forever if I did that. Regardless of how innocent I am. But I'm the one who suffered. But I'm not going to speak ill of my father. I can speak ill and maybe be angry and talk to my aunt and say, I don't know what Papa is doing. But not to the public.
Yeah.
These are basics. These are basics. So that's why I came, my brother. I love my family. I think, like I said last time, both my parents are amazing people. You understand? But I think the victim in all of this here, or the person who's been accused here, is my father. And I can't allow that narrative. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. So those are some of the things that you wanted to clarify and kind of like really delve deep into. Was there anything else that you wanted to respond as we go towards our close there?
So I think also, Brother Ricky, one of the things that were mentioned were that, you know, my dad changed after Terano. He was a good father, but then he changed on us after Terano. Hey, that's not true. We started living the best life after Terano.
Okay.
So where did the change come in? I don't want to sound materialistic. But if my sister gets bought a BMW, it wasn't the other church, it was Terano. BMW, first car. Convertible. Is that Terano? Or not? Where did that come from? That's what I'm saying. I don't want to sound materialistic. But I'm just trying to address, you know, I don't even want to talk about the cars we drove. You know, that's a very silly
What
thing
does
to
it
do.
mean to say someone changed on
I'm trying to just make it tangible example. To say that my father changed when Terano started. How did he change?
What does it mean?
What does it mean when we then started going to the best schools? Right? when we then started living a certain lifestyle where people wished they were us. So then how did he change? And I think I'm one to speak, as much as people can say that, Tsepo, you don't know what happened between your parents. The divorce happened 2002. I remember, like, I know these dates. I remember leaving Bloemfontein, finally getting into my dad's car. My mom, anale luggage ya high, kamusia lorry park ko Bloemfontein. Nage palama koloi le ntate waka. Ke Bethlehem for December. And that was the last time my parents had a house together. Because we were staying in Bloemfontein. So to say that my dad changed, because this is 2002, surely I have more experience with him now than she does, because the divorce happened 24 years ago. Right? I'm 35 years old now. I was 10 years old when this thing happened. So surely I'm sure.
You should know the change. You should have seen.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know what I'm trying to say? I think that's also another big thing. Like, to say that Terano only made our lives better.
So there is also something also that I think I want to ask concerning, because you guys, so from that point, that's when they stop living together. They've signed the paperwork. They've agreed on what's the split and all that kind of stuff, and so they go separate. But then there's a certain comment I've heard that she asked to be able to come back in some way. What's the thing? I just want to understand how.
Yes. That's actually a very good question. I remember I had just finished matric. I think it was 2009, late. I even went to fetch my mom from where she was staying,
Okay.
my grandmother. Yes, she was also mentioned in the other podcasts. My grandmother, Umam Tembo, right? I even fetched my mom from there.
Okay.
My dad brought a truck, Yaterano, to come and fetch my mother's clothes, so that we all moved to Bloemfontein, so she can have a comfortable home with her children.
Okay.
And when I say this, I'm talking about Woodland Hills Estate in Bloemfontein. If you talk about Woodland Hills now,
that's crazy stuff.
and I'm talking 2010, right? My mom came back. My father then just told her, okay, listen, you are more than welcome to take care of your children. I'll support you guys. After the divorce, I'll support you guys. I'll take care of you guys. When I just take care of your children,
yeah.
And then there was a point where my mom even apologized and said thank you. Said thank you for allowing me to be back here.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowing me to be back here.
To raise my kids.
To raise my kids. Because I was in first year at that time. My sister was still new in high school. But the fact that we stayed in Woodlands, and under his care, after the divorce, I'm talking almost 10 years in the divorce, he sent his truck to go fetch her clothes and send me. He said, go fetch your mother. You're moving to Bloemfontein with her. Why are those things not mentioned?
How far apart from the divorce was that?
This is 2010.
So they split. Also, they split 2002.
Yeah.
So 8 years or so
8 years
later.
So, he still takes his trucks and say, go fetch your mom's clothes. Go fetch your mother. You're going to stay with her. My mom then in Bloemfontein apologized and said, I'm sorry for behaving in a certain way, whatever. Then again, those words came. Guys, so
he said both of you down.
Me and my sister. And said, regardless of what has happened between us, but you will respect your mother. So 8 years, if he didn't care, why offer the opportunity? Because my sister could have stayed in boarding school. Like me. I stayed in boarding school throughout my high school. My sister was in grade 9. She could have stayed in boarding school. He could have saved that money that he was paying in that estate, but he wanted
Whatever's best.
whatever is best. And he went through all of that effort. He even said, look for the place where you're going to live. Look for the place. And it was found in Woodlands. And he's like, okay, cool. How much is it? Okay, cool. At that time, the rent was ridiculous at that time. And he paid it. He didn't have to. My sister could have stayed in boarding school, gotten fed there. But then he took my mom and said, take care of your children if it makes you happy. So it'll be wrong to sit here and pretend and say, my father's not done good things. I'm sorry. That narrative, and she never said that either. But I'm just trying to set the record straight because I feel like regardless, people will always hear and highlight the negative. Many times I heard my mother say that he's done well. But there's a lot of things that were painful and false. Yeah.
Right.
Did I answer you, no?
Yeah, no. I think I see because I only heard a portion of it. I only heard a portion of it about no, she has to go back. And so it wasn't clear how many years after the divorce. So because I thought maybe that happened like immediately.
No.
I was like,
No, she went home and whatever. My dad was focused on building his ministry because Terano was new when this happened. Terano was still 2 years old. So his main focus was building his ministry. And as soon as, because you know after the divorce happened, when my mom left, I was staying, I'm trying to find a way to reiterate the story. That is, but I was staying in a very difficult situation in Bloemfontein, where I had to be taken care of by people from the church for me to attend school because of the divorce.
oh, okay, so that you're not seeing all of that.
No. When the divorce happened,
Okay.
I was left in Bloemfontein because my mom and my dad separated while we were living in Bloem. My sister moved to Joburg with my mother. I was staying in Bloemfontein, but I couldn't go to boarding school because the primary school didn't have an official boarding school. It's only the high school that had a boarding school.
So where were you staying then?
I was staying in Mafora. People who know Mafora from Bloemfontein will say to me, you're lying. You've never stayed in Mafora. People that know me, they'll be like, no ways, we don't believe you.
Why?
It's that poor. Because my dad was struggling. But as soon as he made it, as soon as things got good for him, we went from Mafora to Woodlands. Two different contrasts. It's the opposites. But with the time when he was building, he put me down and said, look, I can't afford to get you an apartment. He took two guys from church. I was living with two guys who were singing in the choir back in the day in Mpoma Swiu. Was taking care of me like my mother because my parents had split. It was a beautiful time because that's when I learned
a lot of responsibility.
But then as soon as my father couldn't then afford, he calls everyone and says, look, you and I, but for the kids' sake, even when I left, they still stayed in Woodlands. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. So I think that sets the narrative a little bit more clear.
Yeah.
Only addressing things that were said with half portions of truths and stuff like that. If it was not out there, it would not be addressed.
Exactly.
The only reason it's been addressed now,
exactly,
it's that it was put out in a portion. Because even me, I had portions on that part, and I had portions also about the certain portions of what you addressed over the last two episodes and stuff like that. Because on the first one, we really delved with what was your perspective of your upbringing and stuff.
Yes.
And then the last two episodes, then we dealt with all these other points.
Sure.
So yeah, it kind of like cleans up, it kind of like clears up areas concerning those things. And I think
the main thing, like I said, just before we go, to clear it up, there's no Inkabis in my family. there's no witchcraft in my family. I'm saying it. There's no hitman in my family. You know, the divorce happened. My mom divorced my dad. That's just the truth. What abuse? I don't know if there was abuse. But I've never heard screaming from the bedroom. I've never experienced any of those things. So yes, thank you for the platform, but I just needed to clarify all of that.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for checking out this episode. And so with that, when we shot the last episode, we did have to kind of like chime in this particular part. When he got to hear it, he was like, you know what? I want to address these other things with a little bit more detail. And so that's why we're shooting this part here, right after shooting that episode. And so I hope by the time you watch part 1, part 2, you're able to go back and then engage with this one as well, because then it will have details that you might have not heard in the previous one. It's the Reality Show, Daily Christian Commentary Videos. Other episodes done today, be done in the pinned comments. Leadership, thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you. It's been good.
It's
Illuminati.
Hey, did you see that?
Did you see that?
They did fingers.
And then I had a whole circle there on the hands.
Then they point to it. Hey, it's a sinner.
My brother.
So, y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see you later. Please do remember, social media is not your friend. Yes, there are certain places where certain things are addressed publicly because it does kind of like save the person or whatnot and all that stuff. But once it's in the public domain, it's in the public domain. You cannot control the narrative in that space. You'd rather go back and have those conversations back with the people that you have disagreements with when it's resolvable. Resolve. It's Ricky, and I'll see you guys on the later one. You'll have a blessed day.
All right.